This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jacob and Payne, and today I have for you 8 stories in the queue from the past day. That's on Monday, vetted by U.S. Conversation. Stories covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news are stories that you said were kind of cool and we should chat up. So we're going to chat them up here, 8 of them coming up, including Morrissey having a very, very bad night, Mariah Carey living out one of my teenage sweet, sweet fantasies, and Moo Deng has the election all synced up. He got it going on. I assume it's a he, but we'll get to him. And of course, we have 5 of the stories to get to for the morning. Now, I'll explain the vetting process in just a bit, how we got to pick these stories to be our stories of the day, plus some other things along the way. So let us know what you think about what's going on by going to our website. This is theconversationproject.com, commenting there for things there, and also emailing us as you see fit at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. If not said so far, it is Tuesday. It's November the 5th, 2024. It is election day in the U.S., the rainy day in Arkansas. So if you did not early vote, you may have to stand out in some rain for crowds to get that voting done today. But it's important. Get it done. We'll bring more election stuff up in a bit. But right now, first story on the line, we're going to start off pretty heavy, so bear with us in this one. As we have the very first story popping up in this headline for the day. It features the current ongoing struggle, that is the trial happening in New York City for Mr. Danny Penny, where the jury got a chance to see Jordan Neely's subway chokehold death video from the standpoint of people taking videos, and of course some of the cameras from various people, police officers who were dealing with the situation going forward. Now, this is going to be a very interesting, very hotly contested trial. We know that, as many people on the subway were saying the man, Jordan Neely, was being assaulted, or was not assaulted. He was basically the people were being defended by the man, Daniel Penny, who was keeping Jordan Neely from assaulting them and just being rude, belligerent, and being a bit of a pain in the general. However, Danny Penny, instead of just sort of subduing him, putting him down, putting it in, just letting him rest, went overboard, choked him to death. This is what's going to happen here or there. It's a battle, unfortunately, of patriots, if you will, because some of the people on the patriot side are claiming that they're just trying to hold a guy down for doing something and being heroic, as opposed to overly excessive in something that he may not have needed to intervene in, because while Neely may have been belligerent, maybe he wasn't all that dangerous in the situation. Maybe with time, he would have got off the train, other people would have got off, things would have not had to escalate as they did. We're going to see this one play out literally in court in days as we goes forward. We'll see what watching that video will mean for the jurors involved in this case. Let's move on to the headline at story number 2. And the headline is an interesting one. It's one where I saw it, I kind of scratched my head, put it out there, and said, "Let's see what's it's doing. We got to fill these gaps." And you guys engaged in this one and thought maybe sort of the same sort of lines. It's a level of relief, it's finality, but it's one of those things like, how did this take so long? The remains of 30 Civil War veterans found in a funeral home storage area were laid to rest. Not Vietnam, not Korea, the Civil War, the war between the states, that one that was a long, long time ago, where Abe Lincoln wore the beard and we fought over slavery. That one. After being stored for decades in a Rhode Island funeral home, the cremated remains of nearly 30 Civil War veterans were finally laid to rest in a dignified ceremony. The remains had language and storage and were basically forgotten until a recent effort to get them reburied happened. Veterans organizations, local officials, and members of the public attended the ceremony, honoring the veterans' service with their respective send-off. This reburial provided long overdue closure for a dignified resting place for those who served in the Civil War. The biggest thing, and you see the headlines, is how do you find remains of people who died over 150 years ago just sitting in the back of a funeral home? You don't. You find ashes that have been uh, set aside that should have been buried a long time ago, and they have been officially in a ceremony. We give salute to those folks who served that war, and the article, at least Rod doesn't tell us exactly. We're assuming they were Union soldiers, and the remains were set there. They just did not get buried properly. We salute those who fought. We salute those who died. We salute those on both sides, if you will, going forward, because this is a history uh, arc that we had to get through going forward. There had to be two sides. So one side won. We hope the right side won. I'm pretty sure the right side won in my case. And we want to let these men rest in peace forever, and our memories go forward on what happened And in these times, these days, right now, remember what could happen again. Story number three. We talk about sports washing over in Saudi Arabia, how they're doing all these big sporting events and big things that are happening so they can get people to watch sports and think, oh, the Saudis are supporting sports with all their great wealth. They must be pretty cool. Even though there's a lot of other things to not like about the Saudis, including how they actually treat their people and some civil rights things going forward. Here's a commentary from Tim Henman of tennis, who is basically lashing out against Saudi Arabia for their women's final for tennis, crowning a tennis champion in a tennis tournament for the WTA, official finals for the actual tournament system in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But only 400 people showed up. Literally, 400 people showed up to watch what's going on in a arena that could hold thousands. 400 were there. He called it disappointing and frustrating, criticizing the sparse crowd for this typically a major event in women's tennis. And it could be a couple of things. One, maybe the Saudis don't want to see women play tennis or don't understand how big a deal this is. This was in New York, this was in Paris, this was in Australia. People would show up because it's a big deal to see a tennis match, even if it's not the women. And number two, maybe the Saudis have some issues with culture itself because they're Saudi Arabia. Now, it's not as defined as watching WWE in the past couple of days. They've been in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia as well. It's part of what they call Saudi season, Riyadh season. They do a big celebration where they bring a bunch of folks in and make a big spectacle to get people to come to Riyadh, come to Saudi Arabia, and maybe spend money and move there because it's a pretty bustling destination to be there, except for the civil rights and restrictions against women, things like that. So it's not like I said at WWE where all the women had to be in full bodysuits all weekend long when they performed. Because it's there, but it does show that there might be a little bit something to say about the Saudis just paying for folks to show up and using sports as a gimmick when the sport doesn't actually bring in folks to follow along in the gimmick. Let's go to Morrissey. Before we take our quick pause, Morrissey had an issue in his Dallas concert a few days ago. It was cut short after fans invade the stage. Not He recently had to cut that short Dallas concert abruptly short after a crowd of fans just sort of rushed the stage and attempt to get close to the singer. They just wanted to hang out with Morrissey. They wanted to touch him, be a part of his being, which is usually frowned upon when you're on stage performing in front of people. It's not really what you want to do. Hard to play the piano and play the guitar when people are up there, on stage kind of touching you. The incident occurred on November the 2nd, Morrissey leaving the stage mid-performance due to security concerns. Videos from the concert show the chaotic moment when fans broke through security, which with at least one guard reportedly injured during the disruption. Despite the huge fan enthusiasm, Morrissey then ended the show because once one body, busts through the security gates, you don't know what's happening next. And when this time and in the state of error we have right now, where we don't know what's happening next and who's up there on top of that metal building, said in not in jest, yeah, people get crazy. And fans out there start overly fanaticking. It's time to cut the show end. And yes, a few folks can ruin it for everybody, and that's what happened in this concert. Deal with it. We take a pause from the news stories. Four more to go for this morning to ask you to help us out in our goal for global domination of the news business. We want to be in charge, large in charge. We need your help to get there. We're not at the level that we need to. We're about 1,500 subscribers on YouTube, and that's a mark that usually means something just for the fact of monetization. But we do need your help to get more people seeing us, more eyeballs out where we are. We need you to like the videos that we're producing. We need you to share them with like-minded people who will enjoy the news that we produce and the commentary that I give. News that's more or less open and honest, and commentary that's straight down the middle as best as possible. And if you're not subscribed to us, you're not getting us in your feeds to notifications that we're showing up, or just as you scroll through your stuff, subscribe. Don't let the algorithms be your guide in this case. Be your own man or woman as you can make your vote for what's good content. I think it's us. If you agree, like, share, and subscribe to the content we create here on this channel, the Conversation Project's YouTube channel, the X channel if you're seeing this live. If you're listening to us on a podcast loop, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, not just popping up on a random feed, and on Facebook when Facebook cooperates. Sometimes it does. We're also on TikTok and Threads as well. So if that's a better home for you, find us there, subscribe to us there, like and share what you see there, and we'll tell you how the likes actually help us pick our stories in just a moment. Right now, back to the news and back to what would have been an awesome teenage fantasy, and that is two Mariah Careys in one all together, living in perfect harmony in this universe. But it's not a multiversal intrigue that could cause some sort of rift in time and space. It's actually a wax figure that looks like the person. Now, as we last week complained about the Dwayne Wade statue that looks like Shaq, Mariah Carey has unveiled her Madame Tussauds wax figure for the Christmas holidays, and fans are like, "Wow, this looks like Mariah Carey." Fans are in awe due to the incredible resemblance of the singer as it captures Carey in one of her most signature glamorous styles, Christmas, complete with detailed hair, makeup, and glittering gown, reminiscent of her iconic performances. The latest edition is designed to emphasize her realism on highlights on Carey's unique style and presence, allowing fans to experience an impressive likeness up close. The reveal has been celebrated across social media, and many fans are expressing excitement over the statue's lifelike quality. If you're looking at the pictures of it, there's video pictures of her. You know, she's actually to the right, if you will. She's in the black dress and the red dress, which is detailing her Christmas stuff, to show just how much of a great job they actually did in this wax figure. And we've seen many Madame Tussauds figures that look close, kind of like, it's kind of there. And then some are like the Dwayne Wade statue that looks like Shaq. This one, the real deal. Mariah Carey has pulled off very well in wax, as many folks are getting a good chance to gawk at this great work right here. Here's a story that doesn't seem like it's all that important, and in theory, it's not, but this is about conversational stuff, and we talk about things that are really conversational. There's a lot of chitter chatter going on in the world of professional wrestling and combat sports in general over a ring announcer named Samantha Irvin. Why is this? A few weeks back, she left her job. She abruptly left the show. In fact, it was basically, as we were told hours before Monday Night Raw, the show that she was commenting on, where she was essentially handed the torch by a previous senior veteran announcer to do the thing, and everyone's giving love for her. Where she left WWE, she left the show, she left what's going on. Rumors had it she was leaving the show and the WWE brand, TKO brand, to go join her boyfriend, fiance, the guy named Ricochet, who left the company a few months back, who is now on another rival company. Ricochet is like, "Nah, man, that ain't it." It's other things going back and forth whether she wants to actually go back to doing her actual acting and singing career, because she was an actor and a singer who I believe tried to do a little bit of ring stuff, but turned into an announcer and a singer and in general, because it was just something to do. And she was basically handed the torch to run things for the branch, the flagship show, run Monday Night Raw, and left sort of out of blue. Her job was taken over by the person who had her job before, Lillian Garcia, a woman who has been doing this for many, many years and is a legend and a Hall of Famer. I believe she actually has a Hall of Fame spot because she has left officially. Had been coming back for some more things here or there, because they're doing a lot of nostalgia for wrestling. And now she is essentially back with a full time job doing Monday Night Raw. She did not do Raw from Riyadh last night, or yeah, last night. They had their one of their men announcers doing it, probably because of Saudi Arabia. But it's going to see what happens as we actually find out soon, maybe, what Samantha Irvin is doing. Now, so that means she's still posting her pretty Instagram pictures, so you can still follow her and get those social media posts. The reaction is missed, and she's taking a whole lot of backlash, pun intended, for her leaving abruptly Monday Night Raw and the WWE. Crowd size. So if you've been noticing things inside of the last days of this election cycle, you've been noticing, and it's fairly noticeable, that Donald Trump is slowing down, getting tired. The road of campaigning gets to all of us. And right now, if you listen to any of his speeches, any of his rallies, you can tell there's a difference in the energy going forward. Now, whether this energy is literally, I think I'm going to lose and I'm getting ready for prison, or I've just been doing this so long, I'm ready to get back to work and start pressing buttons and kicking out migrants. You can take whatever side you want to. But the quip about the largest crowd sizes everywhere is being debunked in real time. Now, you may not like the mainstream media or lamestream media or whatever the lying liberal media out there, but an NBC correspondent walked through a crowd at a rally to show that there were plenty empty seats. And this wasn't, you know, hours into it, but this was at the start, or should have been at the start. Donald Trump was late for a rally in Greensboro, North Carolina. And when he was late, a correspondent for NBC decided to walk through the crowds to show that there were blocks and blocks of seats that were unfilled. Now, this is not, like I said, this is not arriving early and not having everybody filed in, or arriving late and people actually leaving, which has been the rumor that's happening, as Trump actually went on to talk in his rally last night for about 2.5 hours, just kind of going on and on and on whatever he was talking about. But this is just a picture of what we're seeing right now. Similar events in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Reading, Pennsylvania experienced lower than expected turnout as many people are suffering from fatigue from the climate. It is what it is. Von Hilliard just did the walk to show it was there and show that there were seats that were not occupied in this case. In this case, the venue was starting late, so instead of going to the hit to see Trump get started, they went to the hit show the empty crowd. What was happening. Is this a precursor of things to come? Today is election day. Today is Tuesday. Today's the votes start getting counted to see what's going to happen. Will we have a red win or a blue win? Will Trump take it back, or will Harris make history tonight? I guess they both technically make history tonight going forward. We shall see. But if you're in the Trump camp, you may have less to worry about because this thing's in the bag. You believe baby hippo Moo Deng. Headline for number 8. Baby hippo Moo Deng picks Trump over Harris in 2024 election prediction. That's in quotes. The 4-month-old pygmy hippo in Thailand, who is now a sensation of the world, is gaining international attention for playful prediction in the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Yes, this election matters to everyone in the world, including baby hippos in Thailand. A recent event had Moo Deng presented with 2 piles of fruit, 2 fruit baskets, labeled by Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and she chose the pile marked Trump, leading observers to humorously interpret this as a prediction of his victory. Now, let's get this straight. There might be some strategery in this thing. Apparently, there was a piece of dragon fruit. They were identical baskets, all things being equal. But the piece of dragon fruit in the Trump basket may have been a bit larger than the dragon fruit in the Harris basket. And dragon fruit tends to be a favorite of our hero Moo Deng. So maybe he smelled the larger dragon fruit, and that's what was going. Maybe swayed slightly by the sweet smell of produce going forward. Now, many animals predict this thing, and it really means nothing, except this year when it literally is about a coin flip toss. No one can really come out with any idea what's happening because of the situation we were in. We were in a bad situation in 2020 when it was Biden and Harris. No, sorry, Biden, Harris, and Trump, and that other guy you didn't like. I can't even think of another guy. So Trump and Biden. Let's do that. So it was 2 old guys that no one really wanted to run for president, but they were the choices. This time we thought it was 2 old guys, 2 even older guys, same older guys. It turned into the same older guy who's now the old guy, and a younger person who many people say they didn't know, say they didn't understand, but they really just don't like her because many people in the spectrum just don't care for Kamala Harris. But it's a closer election. It's a closer election, but the old guy still has a chance to get the win. So will it be the old guy whose fruit basket was preferred by Moo Deng? Or will it be the younger candidate that will be the first female president, first president of Asian descent? Already had a black president, so that's already been taken care of. And giving us whatever vibes we're going to get. And the first vice president to win the presidency in quite some time. We shall see. Probably not tomorrow, though. Take a pause, swap out for the news, and get to the teaser story for this morning. The teaser story is a story that gives us a chance to transition out of the news and into hmm, the other stuff, the stuff that get us more news, if you will. Now, if you want to be a part of the conversation, literally just be in a conversation, you just follow us on our feeds and enjoy the programming we give you, enjoy the actual news stuff we give, and help us out with that. Facebook.com/This Is Conversation Project. twitter.com or x.com/th underscore conversation. And of course, feeds.net/at this is conversation. What we do on those websites is every 50 minutes or so, we post news articles for you to engage in. And you just simply see an article, say, I like it, I love it, I don't like it. Comment on the article. If you want to give comments, those are great. Click on the emoji face or the whatever works for the platform. On Twitter, it's just a heart. On Facebook, it's all the emojis you care to click on. And we pick these stories at the early morning. We'll open them up, look at the stories, download the engagement numbers, and the stories of the most engagement get a chance to live for you in this program. We gave you 8 stories for this morning from the top 15 or so stories from yesterday, stories that really made an impact. Yes, Samantha Irvin made that much impact. So if you don't follow the WWE, now you know what people are talking about. And of course, Mariah Carey is going to make it because she's Mariah Carey. It's going to happen. But you get a chance to pick the stories that we pick for here. Tomorrow, will we talk about this story because we probably won't have a winner for the election, so we need other things to chat up. Netflix is removing nearly all of its interactive titles. Coming at the end of the month, essentially, you'll only be able to see Bandersnatch, which is a Black Mirror derivative on this interactive type of stuff. Stories that are choose your own adventure type movies are going to go away. Will this affect what you have going on? Probably not, because there's a whole bunch of Christmas stuff happening, but it might mean something going forward to you and to us. If you want to chat this one up, engage in the story as it comes down into your feed when you watch it. When you check out your Twitter, your X, or your Threads, or your Facebook, you'll see what we're out there, or go look at our page directly, see what stories we're talking about right now. Engage in the ones you think are good enough and ignore the ones you think we should ignore. And we'll do our best to engage in the ones you think are good enough and ignore the ones you think we should ignore. Our sponsor for today, spotlighting the election itself, is the Now What Network's manifesto. It's a book that I just released this last week, and this is a book that is just in time for the season, election season. It's not just a book, it's a movement for people who are frustrated with politics as usual and want real, actionable ways to make their voices count. We lay out 10 powerful tactics to hold your leaders to accountability and ensure they work for us, not just US themselves and making it a government thing, us, the people, not just for themselves or the financial backers or the people running these PACs or Bill Gates or Elon Musk or those folks as well. It keeps you informed. It keeps you looking on the reliable information, keeps you engaged in the community, and it keeps you poking the buttons that keep the people working for us, working for us. It's pretty simple. Look for the Now What Manifesto wherever your books are sold. It should be widely distributed at this point throughout the internet. The links that you'll see inside of this presentation, I'll go to Amazon, so you can buy it in Kindle and paperback format. $10 for the paperback, $5 for the Kindle version. And it is a quick read, a simple read, 10 tactics to keep you engaged with the folks, keep them pushing to push for us, not just pushing against us or pushing us exactly. This works for national politics. This works for local politics. This is just simple fact stuff. It's not magic. It's not sorcery. These are pretty simple things that anyone can come up with. I just happened to come up with them this past week and give them to you here. It also is a launching form to promote the Now What Network at nowwhat.network. And this is a website that I have produced with some similar information such as this and more ways to keep in contact with your public officials, the ones that are elected and the ones that are selected as well, and make sure that you are a part of the selecting process for those going forward. And if they're doing things you don't like, you get a chance to have your say said. Let's talk about the Conversation Project for a moment. We're going to talk about the Conversation Project and what we do at the Conversation Project. You can find out all you want about the whole shebang by going to our website. This is theconversationproject.com, and that will give you links to all of our old stuff. We have links to the past episodes of things you might not have heard, also things you might ought to know, and the weekly roundup, plus links to our feeds, our places, the places we live for the news articles, and where we also produce more content in podcast form and newsletter form and short clips on the TikTok. Find them all there at our website. This is conversationproject.com. We ask you to stop by the website and consider stopping by our sponsors page to see more of our sponsors. All sponsors are affiliate ads. So if you click on a link and buy from them, we get a small commission. Consider being a partner. On Friday, we talk up the partners in great detail. Those are people who directly fund and are essentially my sounding board. They are the board of directors for what we do around here, telling us what to get things done. And just see about the origins of the Conversation Project at the website. You can email us anytime at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. And of course, the most important thing you can do is follow us on the feeds so that we know what stories to talk about because you are engaging in those stories to give us those heads ups. For that, we have wrapped up this show for today. This has been the Tuesday, November 5th, 2024 Election Day edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard for the day. 8 new stories from the past day on Monday that hopefully you got a chance to engage in and got more engagement with. If not, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. It is Election Day. Today is the day that votes are counted if you have early voted and cast if you've not stepped in line yet. So we ask you, if you're not stepped in line and you are registered, undecided or not, step in there, figure it out, go there, get your vote in, get something in there. If you don't vote, don't put your name in the hat and get yourself on there, your ability to complain gets lessened by a lot. If you vote for someone and they lose, your ability to complain and reason to complain grows by a lot more. And you vote for a person and they win, you get a chance to revel in that victory and that joy, and then see how well they will disappoint you because they always do. Check out my book. You look for the link in this presentation for the Now What Network Manifesto and see how you can make sure that whoever wins when this thing's all said and done will do what they can to do what's best for you and not just keep themselves out of jail. I mean, do what's best for them by keeping themselves out of jail. We're done. Love you. Mean it. Quip I meant as well. But we have a long way to go, a long night to go. We shall see how we're doing come tomorrow. My bet is don't bet on a candidate because we won't know until Friday. But we will see you with more news for this Tuesday, for the Wednesday that is tomorrow. Tomorrow.